If you're looking for an awesome product at a great price, be sure to check out the link in the description. Brazil's judiciary finds itself at the heart of an escalating international dispute, as Judge Alexandre de Moraes, presiding over the trial of former President Jair Bolsonaro, alleges a cowardly and treacherous plot aimed at undermining the nation's democracy. This pronouncement comes in the wake of sanctions imposed on Judge Moraes by the United States, a move interpreted by many as a deliberate attempt to shield Bolsonaro from legal repercussions following his alleged role in orchestrating a coup attempt after losing the 2022 election to Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The U.S., under the direction of former President Donald Trump, also implemented a significant tariff hike on Brazilian imports, fueling the controversy and raising questions about foreign interference in Brazil's internal affairs. In a fiery address to the court, Judge Moraes, also known as Zando, condemned the U.S. sanctions and the tariffs as a spurious attempt to obstruct justice. He asserted that these actions were orchestrated by a group of Brazilian traders who had lobbied foreign authorities to implement measures that would harm the Brazilian economy. Judge Moraes highlighted that the objectives of this alleged plot mirrored those of the January 8, 2023 riots in Brasilia, where supporters of Bolsonaro stormed government buildings in an effort to overturn his election defeat. He claimed the rioters sought to instigate social chaos, paving the way for military intervention and a coup. The judge further stated that those behind the alleged plot aimed to trigger an economic crisis, which would, in turn, lead to social and political instability, potentially creating an environment conducive to another coup attempt. He vowed that the court's work would continue undeterred, despite the attempts at coercion. Judge Moraes emphasized that there would be no cowardly surrender in defending the nation's democratic principles. He pointed the finger, without naming them directly, towards those allegedly leading the plot from abroad, including the former president's son, Congressman Eduardo Bolsonaro, who has admitted to lobbying Trump officials regarding his father's legal predicament. Following the sanctions, the younger Bolsonaro expressed gratitude to Trump, stating he felt a mission accomplished feeling. The trial, which is expected to conclude in the coming weeks, could see Bolsonaro convicted and sentenced to up to 43 years in prison, a prospect that would likely mean the end of his political career. This situation has sparked the most severe diplomatic crisis between Brazil and the United States in decades, with Brazilian officials expressing their disapproval of the U.S. government's intervention in their judicial system. President Lula himself condemned the U.S. interference, emphasizing the unacceptable nature of the move. Public opinion polls suggest that a majority of Brazilians disapprove of Trump's attempts to interfere in their country's institutions, with experts highlighting the contrasting approaches taken by the two nations when it comes to holding authoritarian figures accountable. Harvard University political scientist Stephen Levitsky stated that Brazil had done a better job than the U.S. by quite some distance at holding an authoritarian leader accountable. Levitsky further emphasized that while Brazil's democracy had flaws, it functions, and that Brazilians were justifiably angered by the Trump administration's attempts to undermine their legal proceedings through trade policies.